Greetings. I wanted to do a talk about a recent experience with acupuncture, and I don't know how many of you may have had acupuncture treatments before, but there was a time when regular medical people, scientists and everything sort of poo-pooed it like it was ridiculous, like the meridians had nothing to do with anything. They didn't follow nerve pathways or anything else. And they've since come around because of its effectiveness. Highly, highly effective. Now, I don't think I've done a talk about trauma necessarily, and PTSD, of course, is trauma, but there's all sorts of other levels of trauma. And basically the crappy way that we treat children, bad parenting, schools. Oh, here comes the chainsaws. Create trauma. So it damages children, and then they grow up and they carry the damage forward. Now, the damage can manifest in all kinds of ways. It's always some kind of illness or physical problem. Now, with things, the medical industry basically, it all comes down to one thing. You can simplify the whole medical industry down to profit. So essentially, Big Pharma runs everything, and this is not conspiracy stuff. This is true. So Big Pharma runs everything. Big Pharma decides how things play out so that the shareholders get their money. So when you go to a hospital or to a doctor, the way you get treated basically is not about fixing your problem, it's about making money from you. And so they like to give medications because, of course, that profits Big Pharma. And then the medications themselves, so-called, may address a symptom, but they will poison another system in the body. So then you get on this roller coaster ride of endless checkups and more of this and more medications and everything, and there's no end to it. So considering how much money we spend, and this is all, this is, everyone I hope knows this, but the more money we spend on healthcare, the health is declining. So anyway, getting back to acupuncture, now I went because I have trauma, stresses in my system built up since I was a child. So I won't go into all the gruesome details, but I grew up around violence, all right? So there was violence at home, there was violence at school, moved every 2 years, which is very tough on children. So every time I'd go to a new school, I'd be the different kid. I'd start in the middle of the year usually. And I'd be going back and forth between England and America, and when you're young you pick up the accents and lose them very quickly. So I'd go to England, be the Yank, get bullied, come back to America, be the Limey, get bullied, have people saying, oh, we didn't need your help in the war, and all kinds of crap, and I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Especially in England it was bad because it was violent. No girls in the schools. Not only were the students violent to each other, but the faculty also was violent. They caned you, which is basically beating you with a rod, a stick. And anyway, you could be hit and punched at any time during the day. So anyway, all these stressors, when you're in that sort of fight or flight mode where you don't know what's coming, you have to defend yourself at any moment. A lot of people have this to one degree or another, and you carry it in your body. So with me, it was carrying it in this area, basically a meridian going down here, and around my back. And you can see here there are cysts here, which are actually disappearing due to the acupuncture, but it's all linked. So anyway, the acupuncture, I did the interview and everything, and they gave it to me in certain places to deal with certain issues. And one thing that's happened is that my digestive system and liver specifically, has been getting rid of toxins in massive amounts. So not to get too gruesome about it, but bowel movements have anywhere between 5 and 10 a day, and they are different from the norm. That is, there's stuff in the cells in the body built up which is coming out. Now the medical industry can't do that for you, right? So basically the way acupuncture works with the body is traditionally in China they call it qi, you could call it electricity, you could call it flow, or you could liken it to pipes carrying water, right, or fluid. So basically stuff has to go from here to here in your body in order for the body to work properly. But what happens with these stress situations is that things get blocked. So say, for example, you're political all the time, and you've got these things going on in your head about the parties and all these arguments and things like that. It's all this stuff going on up here. It's anger, which affects your glands and things like that, and it's going to build up in different places. It's like, hey, do you think your legs are okay? Or your guts, or something like that? They're all paying a price for these patterns. So anyway, the acupuncture treatment that I got, and I had 2 sessions. I will be going back and getting more. But basically afterwards, it's like being reborn. It's like you're a completely new person, because everything that wasn't functioning is now functioning. So there can be blockages anywhere between here and here, legs, arms, organs, all these complex systems. And so I could go into detail about the changes that I felt, but basically it felt different all over. And it was a wonderful feeling. Now, what happens then? Because what it's doing is your proclivity towards tension, stress carried in the body, things like that. It shuts all that down. It lets you know what it feels like to be calm, centered, and functional. But over time, as the treatment wears off, you may find that these patterns are trying to come back again. And then what you can do is pay attention to them and not go down those pathways again, right? Now, it can be difficult because, say, for example, you forget about politics after your treatment, and then, you start watching news again, and you see, you don't want to do that. You want to stay away from that. So anyway, it's quite incredible. And of course, in China, it's been around for thousands of years. It absolutely works. It's certainly not done for profit. The people that I went to, the clinic, it's affordable is in the name of the place, right? First session, where it was the interview and stuff, $45. Additional treatments, sessions, $25. Now, I had to drive over 100 miles to that clinic. If you tried to get acupuncture here in the town I'm in, it wouldn't be $25, it'd be $180, and you'd be tied up with the insurance companies and everything else. So anyway, one more thing I wanted to mention, and this is about ADD and ADHD, because I asked about those because I know some people have problems with that. And what I was told was the 2 things that you can do that are address it most directly. It's not what Pharma would say, which is basically medicated. Say you've got a kid that's ADHD, they're bouncing off the walls, it's incredibly difficult, and it's like they want you to medicate them, and it's like you medicate the child, and they're basically a zombie now, or it slows them down. It's like, you don't think that medication is going to have an effect on other systems in the body? Of course it is. It's toxic. So anyway, what I was told about ADHD and ADD is that 2 things need to be done. One is need to remove metals from the body. Now, I haven't looked into how to do this, but metals get stored up in the body. We have a lot of them in our culture, and they can accumulate in the brain. There are ways to get them out. So that's number one. And it's like the metals affect the way the brain works. They attract electromagnetic forces, all kinds of things like that. And it's been shown also that vaccines that have mercury in them and other metals, that the metals accumulate in the forebrain and they affect brain development as the child is growing. So anyway, hopefully I won't get banned or blocked because I mentioned the V word. But that's one thing. And then the other thing is, you want to take a guess? Gut flora. So gut flora, the bacteria that is in your gut that helps with digestion, basically accomplishes digestion. Most people don't have healthy gut flora, if they have any, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on down there. Well, guess what? The gut flora and the brain are directly connected. So if it's chaos down there, it's going to affect the brain. Now, the vagus nerve comes out of the brain, comes down to the stomach, to the intestines, and everything else. Fast food people, they know about all this. That's why they put sugar and everything and all this stuff. It's to get your stomach to tell your brain to go buy this, get your next fix at the fast food place. So anyway, that's a lot of stuff, but acupuncture is, we should have been doing this from the very beginning. But as I said, the trouble with the medical industry is that it's for profit, period. It is not about health. It is about profit. That's it. And you could go further with this because there are all kinds of bad things happening under the behind the scenes, having to do with what Big Pharma does to shut down people, to silence doctors, to keep things going in this way, which benefits them and benefits no one else. So anyway, I'll leave it there, and